Yes. Okay.
Afternoon everyone, obviously Warren and Alun Wyn on top table. Is that from kick us off, please? Warren, how big a loss is Liam Williams?
Look, he is undoubtedly a big loss from an attacking perspective, and what he's achieved in the game the last year or so. But bringing in the experience of someone like Lee Halfpenny is, I think, gives us a different element. I think he's probably defensively the best fullback in the world in terms of his aerial game, his coverage defensively, and to be honest, we had a long discussion and long debate about whether we started Lee in the first place and potentially to move Liam to the wing. So there was a long discussion about that. So Lee was probably fairly unlucky that he wasn't in the team to start with. So look, we're happy. Obviously disappointed for Liam, world-class player, but to bring in the experience of someone like Lee Halfpenny, and then even Ross Moriarty coming onto the side. So it's a change, but we don't think that we're weakened in any way with the changes that have been made.
Jonathan Davis starts. How fit is he?
Hopefully he's fit, yeah. So he's come through training this week. Like I said, he was very close last week, and he made a decision himself to rule himself out for the betterment of the team, and he's come through this week, and so hopefully we can get through the rain today with the training, and won't affect us too much. We've got a shorter session planned for this afternoon, and but we're really excited about where we are at the moment.
Yeah, question for the two of you, if possible, please. You both mentioned that you're 160 minutes away from achieving something special now. Can you tell us about what this last week in the squad has been like?
Again, you've got to put context into that statement, and the fact that you've got to earn the right to go on to the next amount of minutes. I think we learn week to week, not just in the 80 minutes we play, but obviously in the week leading up to it. I think there was potentially an element we played the game a bit early, again in the week leading up to France. And the message this week early on has been enjoy the week. I think as a player, obviously it's a different perspective to coaches. You can get burdened sometimes with a big occasion, the magnitude of an occasion. That's why we group the minutes together, if you like, because the emotional roller coaster is a pretty tough one. But the message I alluded to is the fact of enjoying the week. You've earned the right to be in this week. So I'm pretty sure we haven't played it too early this week. We've got a day and a half, 2 days to relish what's left of it, and then we're into the 80.
Just to add in with as well, we know you're a very modest man when it comes to your own achievements. Warren obliged and spoke highly of you and your achievements earlier in the tournament. Just what an effect has Warren had on Welsh rugby during his time in charge?
I don't think he's got any fivers left to give me for all the nice things we said about each other, or vice versa. But no, somebody asked about this week and how long has the planning been in it. I think the best coaches, they learn from, again, not just week to week, day to day, but year to year. And that planning process has been continual. Now we've got hopefully 2 games left to do something that we potentially haven't done as a group, and he hasn't done yet also.
Warren, there's a lot of people writing you off this week. You relish that, don't you, when you put us as the underdog?
The nice thing about being out here is that you're kind of in a bubble. You're not seeing a lot of the stuff externally. So, if they continue to do that over the next couple of days, that'll be brilliant. Please keep doing that, because it does get us up. When people do write us off, I can't understand why people would write us off. And our record against South Africa has been pretty good in the last 4 or 5 years. So, and that speaks for itself. So, going into Sunday's game, I think it's going to be a tight game, and we saw that first half with South Africa and Japan. It was a tight game. It'll probably be a kicking fest. I mean, they kicked 30 times against Japan, so we just got to be able to handle their game. It won't be it won't be the prettiest game in the world. It'll be a tight test match with probably teams playing a bit of territory depending on what the weather's like, and I said a lot of ball will go in the air and we've just got to be able to handle that, and they've got to be able to handle our game as well.
Warren, you've spoken since Argentina really about creating depth in this squad. You've got a couple of injuries, but the fact you've got 1,001 caps in the 23, does that give you confidence?
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, and given the experience of the side, and that, like, and Alun Wyn alluded to it, you know, it's been a lot of planning for a long time. I've got 2 games to go as the Welsh coach, and I really want to enjoy those last 2 games, and there's probably 9 or 10 players who won't be involved in another World Cup as well, so they've got to relish that opportunity and be excited about this, and you know, you've got a chance to do something special in your life. You get those chances that come along very rarely, and you've got to grab them with both hands, and when you want something bad enough, when you really, really want it, it can happen. And I think we've got a group of players that really want to give a good performance on Sunday and hopefully get to the World Cup final.
Alun Wyn, before you left Wales, we were at the Vale, and you said, looking at the banner, there's one thing missing from that's the World Cup. How ready do you think you guys are as a squad to put that on the banner?
Well, obviously you need to complete 2 games to get that. We're still missing off the banner, so that hasn't changed. I think again we got through the last game, and we got through games in the season up until now, the end of the 18-19 calendar year, where we showed character, and I think that needs to come to the fore. You get to these games and form is great, rankings are great, but on the day, you know, anything can happen. And like I said, the experience of that French week and how we came through the games, we're expecting a better performance and a slingshot effect from that.
Warren, can I just check as well that with Lee Halfpenny coming in, who will be doing the goal kicking on Sunday?
Dan Bigger will do the kicking. You know, he was originally second inside, so we'll continue with that, and you know, probably anything that 50 or 55 metres, and then Lee will step up for that.
Warren, happy not to be, sound like we don't have Colby in the team, is that a bit of a boost?
Obviously he's a big loss for them in terms of his ability to score tries and his footwork. We were probably going to target him early anyway, so you know, we talked about their kicking game. Our kicking game has to be good as well, but you know, they've definitely got a bit of pace in their back 3 and stuff, so you know, at this stage of the tournament you're always going to lose a couple of quality players, and with them losing Colby and us losing Liam Williams, it's probably you know, 1 each in terms of that.
Warren, you've achieved a great deal in the game, nothing left to prove, whether in the Six Nations or with the Lions. Can you just sum up though what it would mean to you to get Wales to the final for the first time in their history?
I just think for us, if we get to the final of the World Cup, it'd be unbelievable given the small playing numbers that we have in Wales, and you know, just you know, the 4 teams, and so you know, we feel like we continually punch above our weight. But the greatest thing about this group of players is, since I've been involved with Wales, is when they put that red jersey on and playing for Wales, how much it means. And for me, you know, just simple things. You know, they know the opportunities that they've got, and to represent Wales, and often I ask just simple questions that they can only answer. You know, if you come off the field, whether you've won or lost, and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I tried really hard today, then as a coach, that's all I can ask for. You know, and I'd say 9 times out of 10, when they put that red jersey on and play for Wales, they give in 100%, and that's all they can do. So if we can make the World Cup final with, you know, the playing numbers and that we've got, and it will be some hell of an achievement. But it's one step at a time, and we've got a challenge on our hands on Sunday against a good side that's been improving, and I think they've definitely improved under Razzie in terms of since he's taken over as coach, and they've gone back to some of the things that they're good at and the strengths. But I'm excited about it. I'm sort of more looking forward to this game than I was last week, and more confident about this game than we probably were against France.
Steve, please.
Warren, Springboks have actually got bigger during the tournament with bringing in Tiaga. Much of it is based on sheer size and physicality. Is the trick in scrum lineout and also in the general game to try and be smarter than that?
Yeah, well, I think sometimes we're aware of that, and it's trying to limit teams' set piece opportunities. So you've got to be accurate, and often we play a lot with keeping the ball in the park and not allowing teams to have set piece opportunities at line out time and being able to drive. They're a big team. I thought against France last week, I thought their line out defence was excellent. We didn't allow them to get sort of momentum from that aspect. South Africa got a very, very good scrum. We know how strong they are at scrum, and they've got depth in that area with bringing guys off the bench and quality guys to come off the bench as well. And so our bench becomes really important. So you've got to be smart in terms of the way that you play. And we've played against a few big sides already in this tournament. That big physical teams, and probably for us, it's important, and we speak a lot about our conditioning and how hard we've worked, and from a fitness perspective, that we're able to hopefully cope with that, and we talk about the physicality that other teams bring against us, but we've got to not just match, we've got to bring our own physicality in terms of a World Cup semi-final, and that's important when you play South Africa. They were definitely physical. Against Japan, I was, surprised that Vermeulen wasn't red carded during that game against Japan, or cited afterwards. Having looked at an incident, but we've got to match the physicality that South Africa's going to bring.
Gentleman at the back, behind the camera.
Warren, met from television New Zealand. Is Bryn still here?
Yeah, he's still here. Yeah.
What's it been like for him, and also for you and the team?
He was always going to be coming over here when North Harbour had finished, and unfortunately for them, they didn't make the semi-finals. I think they just missed out in the semi-finals. So he was able to come over here, and the problem is it cost me a fortune to get him here. So, but it's worth that. And we spoke to New Zealand, spoke to Steve Hansen. Was it okay that he came and did a little bit of rehab and training with us? He had his first training session a couple of days ago, and so we had to get permission from New Zealand for them to do that and clear that with World Rugby. So he's just been coming and doing a bit of training and just sort of helping us out as well. So it's been nice to have him here and have the family out here as well.
Usually when you're Welsh.
Guys, can we use the microphone, please? That's what it's there for. Thank you.
That'd be a good idea. Usually when your Welsh commitments are over, we're used to seeing you back home walking around Hamilton in your jandals, watching a bit of cricket and whatnot. How much more enjoyable will summer be this year if you're able to make the final and perhaps win the cup?
I haven't really thought that far ahead, but getting back to Hamilton or to Waihi Beach, I'm not sure if the Welsh Rugby Union will let me take the cup back to New Zealand. So look, those are dreams, things that you've just got to dream about. And one of the things about me is that I'm probably the greatest optimist in terms of, I always go in there and believe something's possible, and always believe there's a dream. And if you don't have that attitude and don't portray that attitude, then it's never going to happen. And that's probably been a big part of the success. You've got to go there with that desire and the belief that you can do something special, and that's definitely for us. The next 2 days building on that and hopefully doing that, and then hopefully going back to New Zealand with my head held high in terms of what we've achieved.
Tom, please.
Warren, you've spoken before about how this team has forgotten how to lose against France, got over the line in the last few minutes. Do you think that sort of mentality is going to be key this weekend as well?
Yeah, I think definitely, and that's been a learning process that the players have gone through. We've been through lots of situations where we've lost games in key moments in the last few minutes, but that composure and control at the end of the game is really important. I thought the way that we handled the last 4 or 5 minutes against France was outstanding, and particularly when we got in front, just looking at their body language as players, they didn't believe that they could beat us, and I thought the way that Thomas Williams controlled the last few minutes was exceptional. Where perhaps in the past we might have just panicked a little bit or got a bit nervous, but we just looked composed, and this team's, they've learned that it's difficult as a coach to go through that, and to you can't really coach that experience, and I often say to the young players, I can't coach your experience. There's a lot of things that you've got to learn on the field as a younger player in terms of pace and intensity that you can't portray as or teach as a coach, and this group of players, I think, we're sort of 18, 19 games of competitive rugby that we've won in a row, and that gives us a lot of confidence going into Sunday.
Final question, please, Paul.
Warren, coming up to 12 years now, Wales unrecognisable from the team you took over, but what would you say is the biggest single difference that you have made in that time?
Look, I don't know. The biggest thing that the biggest thing that I'm proud of is I think we've earned respect from the rest of the world in terms of what we've achieved in the last 12 years, and I'm not sure that was there before that, but I think we've definitely, world rankings where we're at, what we've achieved in terms of Six Nations and Grand Slams, and I'd love to beat the All Blacks, and that's the one that's I haven't achieved, but I think we've definitely earned some respect from what we've done, and for me that's the biggest thing.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Paper.